Countess. Who?
I'm literally miserable.
We're not friends.
Joggers. Excuse me?
Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
Hello everybody, welcome to the Real Housewives Edit. My name is Elle and I am here to talk about the two loves of my life, editing and the Real Housewives. Today we are going to jump into the Real Housewives of Dubai. Now this franchise is a little bit different. It's on Peacock, it's not on Bravo, just like Ultimate Girls Trip and Real Housewives of Miami, the reboot, were both on Peacock. Now you might be wondering to yourself, why does it feel a little bit different?
Why would you send a family there?
And that's what I'm here to unpack with you. Before I got into editing and film work and all of that stuff, I used to watch things and be like, there's just something about this that I don't like, or I really like, or that I don't resonate with, or something just feels different about it. Remember Saved by the Bell? They used to have Saved by the Bell, and then they would have Saved by the Bell that was like on a vacation, or Saved by the Bell the college years. Even though they were still good, there was something just a little bit different about it. And I remember when I used to come home from school and I would turn it on, there was something about it that just felt different. Now you might be having that same exact experience watching The Real Housewives of Dubai. So instead of leaving you in the dark like I was left in the dark watching Saved by the Bell, I'm gonna clue you into a couple things that might be making you feel this way. I was listening to Danny Pellegrino's Everything Iconic podcast the other day, which I listen to religiously, that and Bitch Sesh. When I first heard Bitch Sesh, 5 years ago or something, I was like, I'm home. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. It is literally my dream what they're doing. So here I am trying to live it for you guys here on YouTube. I was listening to Danny Pellegrino and he was talking about how Real Housewives of Dubai feels polished, kind of like the way that Selling Sunset feels polished. And I couldn't agree more. There's something about Real Housewives of Dubai that just feels a little bit more staged, a little bit more polished, and you might be feeling that way. And I'm just gonna show you a few examples of why that might be. The first example that I wanna go over are these sort of intros to the ladies. So they're sort of interstitials between scenes. Like in this example right here, Chanel Ayan is about to walk into lunch. Let's just watch that real quick.
Get lost in me. Take a ride in
Oh, thank you.
Okay, gorgeous, right? Like gorgeous. She's in slow motion. She's walking from the car to the restaurant. She looks like a supermodel on a runway. She obviously is a supermodel. They split the screen and put her on two sides. They're doing really cool transitions and making it really fun. The music is really punchy. It feels just really, really good. If you were watching this from the outside, you would be like, wow, this is an incredible production. They've really done a great job setting this up. However, if you're a longtime Housewives watcher, it just feels like a little too much. Now, I'm not saying the other franchise aren't polished and pretty, but I'm going to show you another example of a scene in the most recent episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta where they're showing sort of one of these same sort of interstitials between scenes. There's something that just feels a little bit more real about it. I can't explain it. It kind of feels more fly on the wall. It feels like, of course, we're getting beautiful cameras and angles and we're getting shots of Atlanta, but it doesn't quite have that same sort of cinematic feel that the Real Housewives of Dubai has. I personally would consider myself a Housewives traditionalist. So when I watch the Real Housewives of Dubai, that sheen and that sort of polish in the editing and production is causing me to feel less connected with the characters. In fact, I feel like I'm watching a show more than these are my friends. It could just be that it's the first season, absolutely no doubt. There's definitely that possibility, but I'm just getting this vibe of I just can't quite connect. I'm gonna give you another example here. The interviews of the ladies are usually, in a room, kind of just like this. They're on a green screen or they have their house behind them and they're beautiful and they're glam. They're kind of giving us insight to the scene that's playing out. In the Real Housewives of Dubai, they have them in these beautiful sets, but watch how they have these two angles of the interview sequences. We have this wider shot where they're sitting and we get to see a full body and we get to see their feet, and then they punch in, meaning they go a little bit closer. But even their close isn't as close as a traditional Housewives show. Here I'm going to show you an interview of a recent episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Look how much closer we are to the characters. Same glam, same beautiful background, but we're not getting a full body here. We're not getting the shoes. We're not getting a character in their throne. We're getting like almost like we're sitting talking to a friend, almost like the shot like what we are right here between you and I. The Real Housewives of Dubai, although they are punching in again, which means going a little bit closer on that shot, so we're getting a little bit closer in, we're not feeling that sort of like gritty, like these are my friends telling me about what's going on. It feels very presentational, it feels very polished, it feels very pretty, but it almost gives us this feel like we're watching a show that's scripted. Now I know what you guys are gonna say, oh my God, the Real Housewives, they're all scripted, they're all set up. Whatever you gotta believe to get through your day is fine. Me personally, I think there's of course it's scripted and stuff that's set up, but I do think a lot of these women are going through what they're actually going through and they're doing it on screen for us. Of course, there are certain people that shall not be named that come up with storylines just because they wanna stay relevant. But I think for the traditionalists, the very best housewives are the ones who are actually just living out their truth on camera and showing it all for all of us to see. And those are the moments that become iconic in our eyes.
Hello. Oh my God, Vivian, are you okay? You fell in the bushes?
From a camera and from an editing perspective, when you just can't get very close and when you feel like things are just a little bit too polished, as I believe they feel like in the Real Housewives of Dubai, you just can't connect with the characters in the same way. I've watched, I think there have been 2 episodes, I've watched both episodes, but I don't think about those characters when I'm cleaning my house or when I'm looking forward to my shows. I'm not really thinking about them. Now you might be saying, okay, well, it's the first season. No, when Potomac first came out, those first couple episodes of Potomac, I was thinking about those characters throughout the week, so excited for the next episode. Same with Salt Lake City. I don't know where you were when those shows came out, but I know for sure for me, I was hooked to those characters. I already was starting to form their names. I can't really tell you except maybe Chanel Ayan because she keeps saying it. There are so many factors that go into this, but I will just say from an editing standpoint and from a camera standpoint, at the point where we need it the most, at the interviews where we're getting closest to the ladies and we should feel like they're actually speaking to us, we're getting these sort of faraway shots, very glamorous, very beautiful, but just not letting us in the way that other cities have let us in. A couple more things. Here's an example in the Real Housewives of Dubai where one of the characters, I don't know her name, she is talking about the relationships between some of the ladies. And as she's talking about the relationships, they're doing this really cool editing effect where they're bringing up these circles of the women coming up. Let's watch it right now.
I've known Lisa about 7-8 years now. Lisa is best friends with Ayan, but the 3 of us do very well together. Stanberry and I are very close, but it's a different story between her and the other 2. Sarah Al-Madani is new to the group, but that woman can fit in anywhere. And then there's Brooks.
Okay, I have a lot of opinions on this. I love the way it looks. Again, we have the little circles coming up and they're kind of connected by strings. So we're trying to see how this friend web works together. Now, if you're a housewife watcher for a long time, you know that the best casts are ones that are actually friends, that actually have some history together. I don't know if I'm buying that these characters actually know each other. I was listening to Bitch Sesh and Everything Iconic, and Danny and the girls agree with me on this point in a way that they're saying that they're friends, but then they're talking about stuff that I just feel like if you were close friends, you probably would have covered that ground already. That aside, here we have this cool editing trick where they're showing the pictures while this girl is talking in the background about the relationships so that we as an audience can get a picture of the relationship before we go further in the episode. The problem with this is that you can hear she is speaking about this web as they're showing it visually, but to me personally as an editor, it feels like it was written. And I know there's lots of parts where housewives have had to probably say stuff that's written and they say it over something, or they have to, go in and ADR a line, which is basically do voiceover so that the narrative and the story makes sense for one of the parts. I totally understand that. I'm not that stupid when it comes to this stuff. She's just saying these lines that just don't feel very natural. I personally, from an editing standpoint, get triggered because I'm watching it and I'm like, it just feels like very staged what she's saying, and it's obviously to set up this little thing where they're putting this web of people together, but it just doesn't feel natural. What they're trying to make it feel like is she's actually just sitting there talking about the characters, or talking about, her friends. Ugh, I called them characters. That might be telling. What they're trying to show is that she was just sitting there in her confessional talking about her friend group very casually, and then they created this cool graphic to go over it. If you were watching and you felt like it just felt a little bit pushed, it's because that was clearly written afterward. It was clearly written because they're like, okay, we have to kind of set this up. And they gave her lines to say, and then they created this graphic, and it just doesn't feel that authentic to me. They're trying, I don't know, there's just something pushed about it that I can't really, as a Housewives traditionalist, I just can't really get behind right now. I'm gonna give you guys one more example of why the Housewives of Dubai might just feel a little bit off to you. Okay, I'm about to show you a clip where they're actually getting ready for wherever they're going.
Hey, عطني دوم تشق تشق دوم تشق عطها دوم تشق تشق دوم تشق تشق ماني قادر شطور جمال حالاتي ماني قادر اسوي الحركات شوف
Okay, so first things first, props to the editors. You guys, this is so good. Like, it's so beautiful, the lips, doing the lip gloss, and then them like in the closet, and then they close in on the dog making that funny face, and then she closes the dress, and that's a transition to a next clip, and then you have the one person kind of walking, and then it goes into the next frame where it's someone else walking across frame. There's just some really cool stuff right there. The editors should be so proud. This is in no way bagging on the editors. You guys know I love my editors. There's nothing going on here that's bad. In fact, it's amazing. It looks so, so good. But again, this is about us as the audience and why we might be feeling a little bit less connected to this city than our other cities. You can see here that one of these characters, they're in the closet, right? And they're looking through their closet. Just so you guys know, they have a camera, obviously, on the other side of the clothes rack, and they're going through. Sorry to burst the bubble, but I highly doubt that they're in a closet here. There's just a lot of light. Maybe their closets are a lot of light. But also, the cameras that they're using are huge. If any of you have seen when cameramen actually get in the shot, you can see they have these giant cameras on the back. For them to be able to fit a camera behind the clothes rack, and then you have a little bit of space behind the clothes, it's not going to be enough room for the kinds of cameras that they're using on the show. Now, they might be using little cameras or something. I could totally be wrong. I'm not there. Most likely they set this up. They created a clothes rack kind of separate from the closet and then set up the shot just to actually get the shot. Now, again, it's a beautiful shot, but it's not the same as what we're used to. Let me show you a quick clip from the recent Real Housewives of Atlanta where Kenya's getting dressed for this Mommy Nation photo shoot that she was roped into promoting that she didn't even realize she was promoting.
Wait, so I have to be in the shoot?
Yes!
You didn't tell me that.
I thought I did.
Our new girl, Sanya, who likes to throw Drew under the bus, even though Drew's the one that brought her on the show, but I digress. Kenya's in the dressing room and they hand her jeans through the dressing room curtain. We've all done this before, right? We've all been at like Forever 21. I shop there even now. Asked for a different size, asked for our clothes because there's a 6 clothing item limit, and we ask for more and we like reach our hand out and grab. It's a very, very relatable experience, being in a closet or a dressing room or getting dressed kind of in that way. If you can think to the other cities, we're used to being in their closets, but usually we're seeing the backs of their heads as they're going through their racks of clothes. So in Dubai, what they did was, like I said, they put a camera on the other side of the rack of clothes while the person's going through the rack of clothes, which looks very cool, but it doesn't feel like our housewives. It feels more set up, it feels more polished, it feels more like what I would do if I was doing a shoot where I was having a character look in their closet. I would set it up this way because I would want that cool angle. I'm not saying it's not a cool angle. I'm not saying it's not a great edit. I'm just telling you why you might feel a little bit more disconnected from Dubai. Also, when they're putting on the lip gloss, all of them are putting on the lip gloss right into frame. So if you can picture it, the camera's spacing them like this and they're putting lip gloss on in the camera. Think about all the other cities. Like here's an example of Teresa putting on makeup. Maybe you'll get the reflection of them or, again, the back of their head, because we're getting a glimpse into their world. It's reality TV. When it's reality, we don't always get the best shots. We don't always get the best angles. We wish we got more shots and more angles.
But I'm always going to have pictures taken of me in places. I really don't care anymore. I have a good time.
Unfortunately, we don't have cameras everywhere. Not everything is set up because it's reality, and that's kind of how we like it. When we get these lip gloss shots, when we get these behind the closet shots, when we get these walking across frame and then someone else just happens to be walking across frame, except they're framed up exactly in the same size, exactly in the same spot as the other person, there's just something that just feels a little bit polished about it from an editorial standpoint that you as an audience might be feeling like, this is weird. Like, I'm not looking forward to these episodes like I normally do. Or you could be on the opposite side of the spectrum and be like, oh my God, I love Dubai more than anything. And if that's the case for you, awesome. If you're more of a person that likes a little bit more sheen on their reality shows, you might be feeling Dubai over any of the other cities. And honestly, this is the reason why.
Why would you send a family there?
So thank you so much for watching. If you like this random YouTube channel that I'm creating, make sure to subscribe, make sure to write a little comment, put on the notifications. If I get a couple subscribers, I might be like, oh my gosh, I should keep doing this. Because right now I just feel like a big dummy. But if you are enjoying the content, just do the little subscribe-y stuff. I really appreciate you and I can't wait to see you next time.